Namaskar. Good evening from India. Today we are extremely fortunate to have this session being broadcasted through ICMC channel. Today is very special day, 28th of August, the birthday of legendary Aftab Sitar, Bharat Sitar Samrat, Ustad Vilayat Khan Sahab. And today from ICMC, we are immensely grateful to the iconic Sitar Maestro of our time and the true torchbearer of Sitar music as a whole, and in this lineage in particular, Imdad Khani Kawa Gharana, Ustad Nishat Khan Sahab with us. Pranam Ustad Ji.
Very nice to be here. I'm very, very happy to be here at this moment because, it's such a special day for all of us, especially for me. So I'm very happy to talk to you as always. So nice to be here. And Hidayat Bhai is here also. So it's really nice to see Hidayat Bhai. I haven't seen you for a little while. I'm just trying to see, who.
And today we are having our ICMC's very own, who is with ICMC from the very beginning, Hidayat Husain Khan Ji, who is eminent Sitar Maestro and younger son and disciple of none other than Vilayat Khan. Bhaiya, we are really very privileged and happy to have you as well. If you could take this event forward and with the conversation with Ustad Ji. Bhaiya.
Thank you so much, Ram Bhai, Nishad Bhai. Once again, welcome. For myself, Nishad Bhai, especially for both of us, it's very interesting because we're family. We've grown up in this great man's lap. We've played with him. We have shared personal moments where he has carried us in his lap, and obviously I'm the son. Nishad Bhai is Imrat Chacha's son. So, but at the same breath, when we as family also talk about him as a musician, there is it's a very unique separation that we sort of feel, because as much as he's our father, uncle, but he's this great Ustad Vilayat Khan Sahab. And his contributions musically are so many. It's to the world of music, and especially to the world of Sitar, it's like breathing. We take it for granted. We don't even realize, because it's so important, it's so significant. It's like breathing, and it's like eating, it's like living. And if these foundations weren't created, these innovations weren't created, I don't know where Sitar would be today. Personally, there is not a moment. He was such a great, grand, amazing human being, amazing father, that in a personal day-to-day life, there isn't a moment that I don't think of Abba. It's been so many years, but in whatever we're doing, whether we're going to eat out or hanging out with friends or buying clothes or seeing a beautiful scenery, whatever it is. I mean, he had such a huge presence that there is never a moment that I have not thought of Abba, how he would enjoy, how he would react, how he would express his feelings and emotions. And we're very fortunate again today to have Nishad Bhai, who I've always said I'm his biggest fan. So it's obviously personal. We'll share a lot of personal moments of family and everything. But I also would love to hear his insight on Abba's music, and he will share with you some anecdotes and his personal thought processes. So Ram Bhai, thank you so much for making this happen. I mean, you are a huge part of the family, almost like a backbone right now, for you putting these things together. And I mean, I have no words to express my gratitude and thanks for doing this.
Well, I'm very happy when Ram called up and he said we have to do this, and I'm so sorry that I could not do it in, in the March time uh, when his anniversary had come. I always feel that I think his birthday is such a celebration. It is such a great day for all sitar players, Indian classical music, everywhere in the world. I think we should celebrate his birthday in a very prominent way. And I'm very, very happy today to share some of the stories of, Badabba, and I'm delighted, So everything you said, Hidayat, was very, very beautiful. And of course, he was such a extraordinary, extraordinary presence in our life, that everything, I mean, the feeling is mutual. It's like, I can completely see what you're saying. And it's it's like, I tell you something, it's like when he left for the heavens, where he was playing sitar for Allah Ta'ala, of course, you know, uh, his presence was so important to me in my life that for many months I was trying to find certain rags that I play. I was trying to find myself in those rags. I was trying to find myself seeing what how to I was confused in a way. I was trying to find uh, a way to go in and see the picture of what I used to play, when he was alive, and his presence is such an important factor in my life that it kind of affected me in a very deep way. For months, I was dreaming about him. Every couple of nights, I would have a dream. He was coming somewhere or he was sitting somewhere. And, it was so that presence was a very profound presence influence in my life, and I was very fortunate to be very, as the world knows, everybody knows, um, I was very, I was very fortunate that he really, uh, uh, he really had a lot of affection and love for me, and that is very, in a very special way, in a way, I would say that he would tell me many things, in his own time. He would say many, he would share many beautiful things, many stories, many things about music, of course, about the family, about life, and about his thoughts and stuff. So I feel very fortunate that I actually I feel that I'm spiritually also, I feel very close to him. So he holds a very unique place in my life. I have to say something very important here. Papa, my father, uh, he always spoke when Abba was not there. Uh, uh, Papa always spoke very beautifully about him and always spoke about his music and in the most profound manner, because I think that the way he understood, they were brothers, they had lived together for years and years and years in their lives. They had shared many beautiful moments in their lives. So the way he understood his brother and the way he has understood that music, he very much wanted me to understand the same way that he did, and he would share those stories very deeply in a great, inspiring way. He would do that. कि देखो ऐसा झाला बजाया था उन्होंने वहां, ऐसा उन्होंने वो ऐसे करते थे जब he played the jhala like this, and his stand was like this, and he was doing this, and you try to do this, and you should do it like so. In many detailed way that those stories were there. So they were very much part of this way that we live and breathe and eat and live, in our lives, with music, with our way of life. And then having the great fortune of following and being with him when he would come to Calcutta. There was a time. So there were 2 or 3 periods that one goes through, in your life. So, for example, there was a period of the late 60s, very clearly like a movie, I remember it. Period like 70s, very 70 mm, I remember this. 80s, 70s, 90s, 2000s, until he passed away. I mean, I remember everything he would play. So I would actually was sitting behind him, and I would drink this music when I was listening to him. It was like I had drunk it. So I would go home and I would play, and then the talim would happen. So this was very fortunate because my father was doing the talim, and then I was very fortunate listening to my uncle, and if he was in the mood, he would say something to me, and he would, teach something that if I asked him, he would do it. And so there was a time that I spent a very, very beautiful time with him, visiting him in Shimla. He would come to Calcutta. He was there for 3 days, Pratap Desai's house. So I would spend those 3 days down there, with friends. Sometimes he would stay in the house. In the 70s, late 70s, he was early 80s. He stayed.
निशात भाई, मुझे sorry to cut you off, but मुझे एक वाकया याद आया, and I'm sure it was before my time, but you would be able to tell us more about it. अपना शंखाचार्य जी थे ना, शंखा काका हैं, तबला बजाते हैं कलकत्ते में। तो उन्होंने मुझे एक बार बताया था कि वो घर पे आते थे रियाज करने, और अब अपना इमरत चचा and Amjad chacha used to sit and practice together in the afternoon, and then Abba would come down in the evening, and तो एक बता रहे थे कि एक दिन ये लोग बड़ा तैयार झाले का रियाज करते थे, और तो अब्बा अपना दोपहर को सो के उठ के नीचे आए, एंड थोड़ा सा आपने आके कहने लगे अच्छा बड़ा रियाज हो रहा है, और उन्होंने साज अपना थोड़ा सा मिलाया, और जहां पे ये लोग बजा रहे थे वहीं से एकदम से उन्होंने शुरू किया, एंड और वहीं से मतलब उसको करके लंबा खींचता गया। ऐसा वो मुझे बड़ी 2-3 उन्होंने ऐसी मजेदार कहानियां सुनाई। ऑब्वियसली दिस इज बिफोर माय टाइम।
हाँ, नहीं वो ऐसी तो बहुत अच्छी मतलब बहुत खूबसूरत कहानियां। एक ये भी बड़ा जबरदस्त वाकया है जो शुभ्रोतो मित्रा, द ग्रेट शुभ्रोतो मित्रा, फोटोग्राफर ऑफ सत्यजीत बाबू फिल्म्स, he would come to the house almost on a daily basis. He was a very good friend of my father, and he'd become very close, so he would come to the house very, very often. And so what happened was that सुब्रत मित्रा, हाँ, तो वो आए हुए थे, बहुत सारे लोग घर पे आए थे, सत्यजीत बाबू भी आए थे उस दिन। सत्यजीत बाबू was there, सुब्रत मित्रा, everybody was there। तो क्या हुआ कि उन दिनों में बड़ब्बा आए हुए थे, शुजात भाई भी थे, और पापा भी थे। पापा तो 24 घंटे सितार बजाते थे उस टाइम पे, और हम लोग नीचे में बैठे हुए, तो हम लोग कामोद बजान, पापा कामोद की तालीम कर रहे थे, तो शुजात भाई और मैं भी बैठे थे, तो हम लोग बजा रहे थे, पापा हम लोग की तालीम कर रहे थे उस टाइम पे। तो फिर बड़े अब्बा आ गए ऊपर से, ये दिन में सोते सोते वो he siesta, he came downstairs, he तो इसे जा सितार लेके आ करके, so I ran upstairs, I brought the sitar। अब हम लोग बैठ के बजाने लगे, काफी देर तक बजाने लगे। फिर क्या हुआ, क्योंकि बड़ी अच्छी जगह आ गई, और वहां हम लोग मतलब बहुत मजा आ रहा था, गाने बजाने का खूब मजा आ रहा था। फिर पापा सुनने लगे, फिर शुजात भाई भी सुनने लगे मैं बड़े अब्बा के साथ खूब बजाया। अच्छा, तो क्या हुआ कि we played, and Abba was so happy and so generously, he was I have to say this in English because I remember last time I got a lot of comments that a lot of people who speak English, I mean, I'm not very, familiar with Hindi. They said that that I should have spoken some words in English, so they could have understood. But basically, what had happened was that we were all playing together, and then I continued to play with my uncle, and it was a wonderful afternoon. We played for more than an hour and a half or so, something like this in the evening, and so much so that Shubroto Mitra actually wrote an article about that that incident, and he mentioned that in a newspaper as well as a very famous souvenir. You remember those souvenirs used to come up, they used to be very long souvenir in programs. So Kasim Bazar Rajbadi, that souvenir he has mentioned. I used to have that somewhere. I'm still looking for it. I can't find. I've shifted like 5 residences in between here and there and there, and I've misplaced things. But this is what it was, and so that was one of the most beautiful episodes of my life, with my uncle, and that moment, which was very important because every moment was precious, and it was precious. Invaluable, I would say.
Ustadji, as you mentioned about the Kasim Bajar Rajbari, my father and many other connoisseurs and musicians of Calcutta that time attended that particular concert. It was named as Vilayat Khan Night, where the entire family performed, and it ended with his performance with you all on stage. So whatever memory if you could share about that special special night. Yeah.
I feel so, sometimes I feel left out because these were all times and things that happened before my time.
You were 1 year old, actually. You were 1 year old. But the thing is this, in a way, our families are such. We are, no matter where we are or how busy we are or wherever we are all connected. Very much so. So spiritually, we are connected. Even if you were not there, you were very much a part of us, and you have always been part of. Everybody is a part of everyone, So this is the beauty of this connection of music, what we call it. That was a very special event because it was for. So it was a very special event happening. It was almost like a festival of Bengal, And the organizers had come and they had said, because Papa was playing there, Abba was playing there, and we were, Shujat Bhai and I used to play a lot of duets at that time. So we were going to play there, and we had played. So they said, why don't we do a Vilayat Khan night here, and then the whole family can play. So then he came up with the idea. He said, okay, in the end, we will all play together. But he said that. And so then we played, and it was one of the most memorable nights of my life. I remember how we used to play together in the day and then, preparing for that thing. And then in the end, in the night, Papa had played Surbahar actually. And then Shujat Bhai and myself, we were playing with Abba, and Abba was really proud. You could see it in his. He was so happily sitting on the stage, and it was just a fantastic, beautiful moment.
What amazing times, Nishat bhai. And I think we're such a blessed in that way. What you just said, that that we're not just connected by blood, by DNA. We're connected through this beautiful. Mystical thing, sort of music, and so many times, even if it's not a blood relationship, we feel a kinship with the bigger family through the music and through the notes. It's so fortunate for us to be a part of this amazing world.
Definitely. Look, the thing is that what is really wonderful about this existence of what Vilayat Khan Sahib's contribution to the family itself is. If Vilayat Khan Sahib has not played and worked hard the way he did, and he did not dedicate himself to sitar playing in the way he did, then the whole family would have gone, because Dada passed away very young. Vilayat Khan Sahab was very young. My father was very, very young. But Vilayat Khan Sahab, he went out and he was very passionate about doing it the right way. And he had all those qualities. I mean, the way he thought. I mean, this also shows a part of his character, how he thought, how his thinking was, you know. It's this is a very long discussion. Sometimes it's not a discussion I want to have here today on this platform. But one day I will talk about it. I would like to write about it, because that is whole another episode. To understand what he...
You're so right on this, because the thought process, the person he was off stage, and his dedication, devotion, and discipline, and what made him become what he did is a whole determination, sacrifice, and clarity of thought.
When Dada passed away, I mean, he was very young, and then he went out to the world. He was left in the world with this thing. All the main talim was done, you know. Already Dada had given him a lot of material, and जो ज़्यादा था उनकी जो तालीम थी, उन्होंने दादा से बहुत अच्छी तरह उनको मिला था उस टाइम पे. और उसके बाद फिर उन्होंने बड़े जद्दोजहद से, I mean, with a lot of hard work, he mainly practicing and फिर अपने उनसे चचा से उन्होंने कुछ चीजें ली, फिर अपने बंदे हसन खान साहब उनके नाना से उन्होंने चीजें ली, उनके मामू से उन्होंने चीजें ली, इकट्ठा किया करके. But he made himself what he became through a very interesting process of this journey of his. Was very, very interesting. And I have always been very interested in that journey of his life, how he did things and what his thinking was. And in many ways, people always said, I mean, a lot of people say that, I've been very inspired by that aspect of his life. And I have seen also a lot of that because I was at a time, he was still very, he was not very old, he was very young. And I followed my uncle very, very closely to see what he was like, So I understand an aspect of his journey. I understand his aspect of his passion and his search in what he was, what he became. And so I was very fortunate to see him and spend time with him in a very, very close manner.
I'm having one photo of that, probably from that Kashim Bajar Rajwadi, Ustad Vilayat Khan night. Let me share my screen once. Is this the one?
Oh, I know this. Yeah.
Is this the one? See the way both of them are looking at you, both brothers, cousins, with such affection, with such affection and care. Yeah.
I had been practicing about something that I was playing from that Devat. That I remember we were playing the Bhairavi. We played Bhairavi at this time.
At the end, yeah.
And before that, something else. I'm still looking for the recording. I still haven't got that recording. It's somewhere. But that was...
Actually, really, if you see the expression on Abba and Imran Chacha, the way they're looking at you, is really of a lot of pride and a lot of satisfaction. Kya baat hai?
And my father says that Ustadji played Sunsur Rag Darbari Kannada as the main item, and Abba played Lalit on Sitar.
That's true.
Played Lalit on Sitar. And my father always tells about this special night which he attended. Yeah. this concert.
It was extraordinary. It was such a beautiful night, and it's all etched in my memory. I tell you, I remember. I tell you something very interesting. I think I've said this story before, but I'll just say it very quickly. I'll say it here. Imagine how much he had his affection for me. Uh, one time I was playing in Calcutta, and Abba was staying there in the house, and I used to play his sitar because I used to love his sitar. So I would play his sitar a lot. He would give me his sitar to play. उसे अब आपका सितार हो जाना है, प्लीज आप मैं लेके जाओ. अच्छा ठीक है, उसका ख्याल रखना, ध्यान से लेके जाओ, ये करो वो करो. नीचे बैठ गए, अब बैठ के बजा रहे हैं. तो शाम को I had a concert, so I get very very sweetly I went to him and I said, I would love to play your sitar. Can I play it in the concert today? And he said, ठीक है. He said, ठीक है, मगर बहुत ध्यान रखना, ठीक से लेके जाओ, ठीक है? And I went and I played Marwa. I played Marwa. I was actually playing in Lamart School. There was a concert in Lamart School. And so I played there, and I played this sitar, Abba sitar. So I performed on it once in my life, And so just imagine. Isn't this Hidayat? You will be able to say, how much. I mean, can you imagine giving his sitar? Yeah.
Talking about Abba sitar, I mean, so Abba ke jaane ke baad, the hardest thing for me to do was tune his sitar, because sitar Abba ke liye एक जिंदा चीज थी. अब्बा की जिंदगी की सबसे बड़ा कंपेनियन अगर उनका कोई था तो उनका सितार था. So there was that sense of responsibility that I would feel that I can't just leave it as an heirloom or as an artifact. It is a live instrument. So I used to feel the most amount of difficulty and pain and just to bring it out, and every 2-3 weeks I would have to do it. I would tune it and put it back. But now that sitar to me is the biggest source of strength, and I really feel that मैं उस पे रियाज करता हूँ, और I feel कि उस इंस्ट्रूमेंट से मुझे तालीम मिलती है. वो एक इतना it is such an like, I mean, some people may think that I'm talking crazy, but it's such a live instrument. And when I say talim, I literally mean talim, because the way Abba has handled his sitar and the way he's communicated with it, that it actually communicates back in ways, the way it sort of responds back to the you feel the weightage of a note. एक नी से सा जाने में उस साज में एक जो डेप्थ है, it teaches you that अच्छा ये ठहराव होना चाहिए मींड का, ये वजन होना चाहिए, ये मिजाज होना चाहिए, ये इतना स्ट्रोक होना, इतना सीखने को मिलता है that today it's become a source of my strength. And literally whenever if I'm feeling a little low or a little down or needing inspiration, I just like go pick up a sitar and 20 minutes later I'm feeling revived and rejuvenated and it's an amazing connection. Kya saaz hai wo bhi?
Very nice. I'm very happy to hear that. And I think it's all our very. It's your very big responsibility to keep it right and keep it absolutely spick and span, because he would have liked that very much. We would be cleaning that, and also all our instruments in the house. We clean our instruments, and we tune them and keep them, because like you said just now, that the instruments are ये इससे अच्छी क्या चीज हम लोगों की जिंदगी में और क्या चीज है. They are such part of ourselves, and they are such an incredible aspect of our lives that it's when you, like you said, कि तालीम होती है, इंस्ट्रूमेंट से तालीम मिलती है, जो पुराने साज हैं, जो हमारे बुजुर्गों के साज हैं, people that instruments that belong to our masters, old masters, and our ustads, they have that quality, because that dedication is there, that vibe is there, and it kind of makes you into something.
एक
So
वाकया है निशात भाई, recent वाकया है अब्बा का. Abba had planned सब लोग, Abba and कुछ friends had all planned a trip to Alaska, a cruise to Alaska, and they were really looking forward to it. बड़ा मजा करेंगे and everything. But a few days before his trip, अब्बा का मूड खराब हो गया, जरा मूड में नहीं थे, कह रहे थे यार क्यों जा रहा हूँ मैं, क्या कर रहा हूँ. तो मैं अब्बा से बात हुई, मैंने कहा अब्बा वेकेशन पे जा रहे हैं, इट्स गोइंग टू बी सो नाइस, यू हैव दिस ब्यूटीफुल बेडरूम विद अ बालकनी, वहां पे वेल्स हैं, ऑल ऑफ दैट. हाँ 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 सब कुछ है यार, लेकिन ये सब चक्करों में ना रियाज छूट जाता है. और उस टाइम पे, मुझे सच बता रहा हूं मैं आपको, मुझे ये बात को समझ में नहीं आई थी, और मैं अब्बा से सिर्फ आर्ग्यू कर रहा था कि आप हाँ मतलब 4 दिन का 5 दिन का वेकेशन है, हैव फन, कम बैक एंड विल गेट बैक टू वर्क. रियाज इज वर्क. But for him, it wasn't work at all. It was his living and breathing, and nothing else mattered to him. If the riyaz was not connected, if he wasn't connected to music. So I'm sure there's so many of these, riyaz memories that you have, and talim memories you have from back in the day.
I'll tell you, one of the things that very beautiful story that I'll never forget. You had those 2 tanpuras in your house.
Ji. Those big mirror tanpuras.
हाँ.
जी.
मिरज के तानपुरे.
जी.
तो वो मिरज के तानपुरे जो थे, those tanpuras had come. We were actually in Calcutta when this was very, very early 1970. Very early 1970s. The people from Miraj, they had brought those tanpuras at home, and this was in Calcutta, and then it was sent to Dehradun. Then he sent it.
Yeah.
But first it had come to Calcutta, so there was a association that I because he made me play that tanpura. I was playing that tanpura. जब tanpura लेके आया तो वो कलकत्ते लेके आया था लोग पहले. So we did that. Then what happened in 74, we went to Dehradun. In the beginning of 74. You were born later than 74, but anyway, so that was the story. In 74 February, we had gone to Calcutta, to Dehradun, all the family, a lot of people had gone. So Abba was in a great mood, one afternoon, and he said, sitting, जाओ वो तानपुरा लेके आओ. So तानपुरा लाए, मैं उठा के लाया, रखो. So he took the tanpura, he took one of the tanpura and gave me one of the tanpuras, and he said, इसको मिलाओ. तो पहले अब्बा ने मिलाया, बड़ा खूबसूरत मिलाया, वो जो जैसे मिलाते थे, बड़ा चूल, एक चूल, it was fantastic. He made the tune. He said, इसको मिलाओ. तो दूसरा तानपुरा, मैं नीचे बैठा हुआ था. He had that steel पलंग, वो पीतल के पलंग था उनका. So I don't know if you remember that. Of course.
With the bars at the back.
So he was sitting there at the back, banyan pehen ke, it was a fantastic atmosphere, fantastic, And so he was sitting there, तानपुरा बेड पे मिला लिया, and he said, इसको मिलाओ. So I started tuning. So I tuned the tanpura, while he was playing, I tuned his tanpura, this other one, the other tanpura. He was so happy with me, and he gave me so much dua at that time, And those were the most amazing moments that happened, right? So he did that, and he played. After tuning the tanpura, he said some some nice things. I don't want to talk about myself here, but he said some very nice things, and I was thinking, Baba, kitni achhi mere bare mein baat bol rahe hain. It was a big moment for me. So at that time, there were 2-3 things happened. That visit was very memorable. And then next time I had gone to him to meet him because I was playing in Vellums in Dehradun. I was playing.
I remember that.
So I'd gone to see him, and he had just composed Vilayat Kanala. He had just come from. Do you know where he had done that? Do you know where he composed that rag?
No, I don't know.
He had composed this rag in Rome.
For Zahir Shah's JR.
Composed that rag there, okay? But he called that rag Nazre Rome. He wanted to call it something different. So he said, "Ye shakal sun." Now this is 1980. So I sat there again, and he played this rag for me. He played, and I was going, "Aha, subhanallah, wah, wah, wah." I was going like this. And then I said to him, I said, "Abba, why don't you call it Vilayat Kanala?" Because if my thing was, because those days we were also doing Bilas Khani Todi. We had just done Bilas Khani Todi. उन दोनों में बिलास खानी टोडी की तालीम चल रही थी. एंड अब्बा हैड, देखो ये सारी रिकॉर्ड की बातें जो मैं बोलता हूँ ना, वो तुम गूगल भी कर सकते हो, और जहां जो इंस्टीट्यूशंस की जो ये बातें, यू कैन गो एंड फाइंड आउट, you'll get the record there. In 1976, Badabba had recorded a beautiful Bilas Khani Todi in NCPA.
Yeah.
बहुत जबरदस्त रिकॉर्डिंग. उस रिकॉर्डिंग में मैं था, मैं सामने बैठा हुआ था.
अच्छा, बिलास खानी टोडी और कामोद सर. बिलास खानी टोडी और कामोद नहीं. अच्छा,
मैं उसकी बात कर रहा हूँ, बिलास खानी की बात कर रहा हूँ. तो for the first time in my life, I heard my uncle play on stage. I heard him from the front. Until then, I had never seen him from the front. I would always sit behind him.
That in itself is such an interesting perspective. जब हम लोग का जो पहली बार चेंज होता है वो,
तो उन्होंने he and Muhammad Ahmed Khan Sahab was on tabla, and Abba was explaining and playing Bilas Khani Todi, 1976. NCPA. I was there. Okay. Now, so I said to my uncle, I said कि देखिए, if Bilas Khani Todi हो सकती है, तो Bilas Khani Kanala क्यों नहीं हो सकता? अरे नहीं, he was like, he was being very humble about it. But then, imagine his handling of that rag is itself, it's बहुत बड़ी तालीम है. वो एक उसकी ऐसी खूबसूरत उन्होंने शक्ल बनाई, और उस शक्ल को उन्होंने ऐसा निभाया कि जो लोग गाना बजाना जानते हैं और जो लोग गाना बजाना समझते हैं, वो लोग उस बात को समझेंगे कि उन्होंने वो राग कैसे बजाया और उसको राग को कैसे निभाया. It was incredible, that rag. So I will definitely take, besides some other credits that I will take this one, that I was the one who suggested that he should call it Vilayat Kanala. And thank goodness, a year later he came to play in Calcutta, and he played Vilayat Kanala, and he announced it. And in fact, in Bombay, he played, the first time I heard him in a concert play that was in Bombay, 1981, and he played the wedding of, it was not the wedding, no, he played at the house of a surgeon, a heart surgeon in Bombay.
Dr. Parekh.
In the roof of his
Chat pe and the rooftop, yeah, at the rooftop.
बजाए थे वो पेडर रोड के ऊपर,
जी जी
वो
जी।
घर था, वो पेडर रोड पे
नेपन्सी
घर
रोड
था।
पे, Pedder Road पे, you're right. Pedder Road पे या Nepency Road पे, one of the this thing is a roof. It's a rooftop. पे, yeah. I
So
you, you know Nishad bhai, you're talking about these 80 and 81. I'm suddenly all these memories are coming back. For some reason I thought they were much later, but
no,
this
no,
is
no.
going back.
It was
I'm amazed at my
1981.
memory right now that मुझे भी याद है सब.
It was 1981, and he had said something quite extraordinary in that concert, which is I can't talk about again on this
जी.
program, but
Mhm.
I will speak about it when I write about it. So there were many beautiful things about his playing and his way of doing things, and the way he did that, the way he
You know, talking
he
about Dehradun and that time, just off topic a little bit, but memories sort of pop up. So Abba was always very meticulous at whatever he did, and whatever he did it. He went 100% into it. तो उनके एक हमारे यहाँ पे काम करते थे करीम भाई. He was like Abba's right hand for everything. I mean, he would cook for Abba, he would tailor for Abba, he was Abba's carpenter, and together both of them would really create rooms out of cement and brick, or create furniture, and it used to be, and constantly there used to be something or the other, some project that he was hands-on involved in, and he used to have this. Every couple of months he would have to have this, his entire jute ki almari thi ek shoe, because he was very fond of shoes and clothes. So there's an entire cupboard of shoes that would be taken out and meticulously polished. and Kareem bhai would sit there, and each shoe would probably take like 4 hours to be polished, and he'd be looking at it and be like, nahi, nahi, aise karo, and then it would be placed back. And then he would start with his cupboard where everything was meticulously ironed. And everyone in all his projects, Kareem bhai would always be sort of his to-go man. Just off topic, but just tells you a lot about the person, you know, what kind of a person he was.
उनके हर चीज में, उनके गाने बजाने में, और उनके his proportion of music performance, what he played, how he played, and the love of what he was doing, his dedication to his peers, like people who are before him, all the learned people, his understanding of even things like poetry and or quotations of a good writer. He was an extremely deep person. I mean, he said something very. I was watching one of his interviews recently, and it's a very poignant and a very beautiful interview he has done. And he is talking to, at the Hidayat, you are also there, and it was done in Calcutta. Badi Amma is there, and Badi Amma is sitting there, and he was saying something very beautiful. He said something very telling. कि मुझे लोगों ने मिसअंडरस्टैंड किया, मुझे कोई एक्चुअली समझा नहीं. देखो, ये बहुत ही उनका एक ये बिल्कुल सच बात है.
सही बात.
कि विलायत खान साहब को, people, I mean, in many in history, I mean, he is a historical figure. I'd like to say two things, because I could always talk about him, but I'd like to say a couple of important things. And I think we today I have to go and do a rehearsal, so I have to be somewhere. But I tell you something, okay? Very important thing is that Vilayat Khan Sahab was this extraordinary human being. I always call him, he was like Yug Purush. युग पुरुष, कि एक युग में एक ऐसा आदमी पैदा होगा, इस टाइप का गाना बजाना, this kind of Yug Purush is somebody who's born in that age, that which, like in Latin, they say epoca. In this age that this person was born, one person was born, classical Indian music, his name was Bhattacharya. And I think I'm not just saying this because I'm his nephew and I'm his greatest admirer, but I'm saying this because I think a lot of people will agree with me, people who are doing music around the world, who follow classical music or who know about classical music, they will probably, understand that with the kind of what he represented, the aspects of music that he represented, the different aspects of music that came out of him, and what he did with that music, and how he executed sitar, and how he showed the world about certain things. He was one of his age, of that age at that time, Saying that, I mean, there were so many wonderful aspects of his life, and what he's done with showing us all this way of going with the kind of bandishes and the kind of his way of executing rags, and how he conducted himself as a musician. It's a very important thing to see, how he's conducted himself as understanding of his masters before him also. So there is a heritage that he's tied us all with.
Yeah,
and he's tied that heritage.
Wow.
And he has also shown us in our generation कि भाई हमने देखो ये किया, I've done this, I've done it in this way, and these are the influences of my life, and here it is for you all, and this is how you take it forward. And then we are all going to do it in our own way, but we have this inspirational knowledge that is coming down from a great master like him.
Wow,
there was something
very
else
beautifully said.
My mind, I wanted to say, it's gone off my head. Yeah.
No, beautifully said, Nishat bhai. Wow. I mean, there are so many stories many people say about Abba, but as Nishat bhai said, that very few people really understood him. He had very little tolerance for nonsense, and that made a lot of people sort of box him as being unreachable or arrogant. But it was the fact that he had very little tolerance for nonsense and absolutely no tolerance for arrogance. If you met him humbly, he was the most humble person that you could ever imagine.
No doubt.
Sort of whatever you gave him, as artists, we are very connected to our feminine side because it's the nurturing side, it's the creative side, and true to that sense, whatever you gave Abba, he gave it back to you in tenfold. So if you give him arrogance, sorry.
The thing is that he is, when I said that, when I was saying that he felt that he was not really understood in the way he did. At the same time, the people who know about music and who are doing music, and people who loved him and who cared for him and who valued him, of course, I'm not talking about those people. They obviously, he also got this great adulation and great respect and great, he was Anmol Moti, he was like invaluable, a pearl that was. But he felt that because there are certain incidents that are happening in his life and certain episodes that happened in his life, and the way that he was treated in a certain way by a certain faction of people, and he felt that he did not get his due, which is absolutely true. That he was bigger than he was bigger than anything else, and I think I think he should have been, and I'm not mincing my words here. I would like to say some things very clearly, but I would also say that it is with great appreciation that I'm talking about this. I say this sincerely, that if he felt that he was not really, he was not, in many ways, he was very misunderstood, you know. And I think that in a lot of ways that we going, you know, in the future, and you know what we are doing today, and like what the next generation like Ram and you know and yourself, you know, you people are doing now, we have to keep you know his memory and what he was alive, you know, through our what we are doing in music, what we are doing in speaking about him and bringing his contributions in the forefront. And I think we should have these conversations more regularly, so we can, you know, take one subject and talk about it. I mean, I like to do that. I like to talk about one subject. I can take that forward and talk about something else. And if I'm going to talk about his music, then if I have to give examples, I talk about certain things. And you know, I don't exaggerate a TV bit even, because I don't believe in that. You know, everything I will say is absolutely as it was. You know, like a lot of people claim that, you know, they have spent time with him when actually they haven't, you know. And they'll say he used to say that, and he used to say that, and he said this to to me, and he and you can see, yeah, if you know.
No, Nishat bhai, also, I think what happens is that a lot of people see the conversation you have. It's not a one-sided thing. A conversation is a two-sided thing. So if your ability is what your ability is, so he would talk to you in that sense. So they're not necessarily always wrong about the things that they say, but it reflects more about their own abilities as opposed to a buzz thoughts. A lot of times, you know. So.
Yeah.
You know, so one of this, I think amongst many things that I've almost everything that I've learned from about life and music, but one of the things that I would want to share with our audience, and I think it'll be really good for especially younger upcoming musicians, is he used to say, Riyaz karo, but work on everything. एक scripted program mat banao. Don't script your concert. Practice on every emotion, every feeling, and then when you go onto the stage, let the environment speak to you. How the person that greeted you, or the way you got your chai before the concert, or the atmosphere of the hall. And then what happens is, you come there and you start having a conversation with people. You're not giving them a lecture. You're not giving them a very well-written, scripted lecture. You're having a conversation with them. And what he spoke about emotions and the rhythm and everything, he said the biggest rhythm is your heartbeat. So align your breathing and your rhythm and your heartbeat with everyone. That what happens is, through this instrument that does not even have words, we're not giving you a picture, we're not giving you lyrics, we're not giving you anything. We're just giving you a bunch of notes. And through those bunch of notes, you feel so connected that every emotion that you as an artist feel, the audience feels. And that will only happen if you are really true to your emotion and you're feeling that moment when you're expressing that emotion. So I think this to me was one of the most important lessons amongst many most important lessons, and I really want to share with G.
We're all very proud of you, mashallah, that you're continuing to do this music in these extraordinary circumstances. And Ram, you know, I'm very proud of you that what you're doing is, you know, you're continuing to play the music and, you know, doing the khidmat of the music. And we are all trying to do this khidmat of the music. And, you know, our gurus have really shown us the path, you know, people who we have seen, you know, my father, my uncle, we are very fortunate to have lived with these masters, that in our presence, of life, and watch them, and then we have to just go out and also share these things and with the younger generation, and also they need to understand, the new musicians, the new generation should also understand, if you try and understand the heritage, then your art becomes better, your music becomes better.
And we are fortunate with the next generation, people like me who didn't get much exposure and saath of these great masters. You are here today and you are sharing your experience with these insights are talim for people like us, people who are watching this live or who will be watching this in future. So we are fortunate to have you today and share your insight and experiences with all of us, which is really, really invaluable for music students like us.
Thank you so much, and very, very nice to talk to you.
As always, I mean, such insightful, really you're an inspiration, and thank you so much for giving us so much insight, and you're gracious with your knowledge, and that is very important. So thank you, Nishat.
And I really look forward to, I think we have to celebrate his, life all the time. I mean, this is a special day, but we celebrate his life, and I'm so happy that we were able to do this. There are so many things, we'll talk little by little, and we will, tell our listeners of these little things. I'll tell you, so one day we were listening in Dehradun, his record had just come out. So this is 1980 again, 1980 की बात. तो साजगिरी का रिकॉर्ड निकला था. साजगिरी.
क्या बात है?
साजगिरी. And so he had put the Sazgiri record, and we were listening to Sazgiri, and it was so amazing listening to the Sazgiri with him, and he played a tan. There is a tan he has played there in that, और वो बड़ी यूनिक, उन्होंने एक बड़ी यूनिक तान बजाई है उसमें, उस रिकॉर्ड में. तो मैंने उनकी तरफ ऐसे देखा, मतलब ऐसे मैं तो सामने बैठा हुआ था, जैसे उन्होंने तान बजाई देखा, मैंने कहा Subhanallah, I said to him, and he looked at me in a certain way, and he said, अच्छा, मैंने कहा अब्बा इसको एक बार और फिर बजाएं. So I moved the needle, again to the thing, and those were, those were the most, those moments. How can you, forget? How can you, those are the most.
And it's beyond music. It's the personal interaction. वो जो उनके expressions और वो, कैसे वो अगर उनको पता है कि निशात भाई is in town, और वो तो उनका एक बड़ा मजेदार ये होता था कि वो खुद नहीं बोलते थे कि निशात आओ. He won't say it himself. Exactly. Okay, he won't say it himself, but if he's like, he knows that if he's come into town, or he's about to come into town, so his anxiousness and his little anxiety used to start going up, and he'd be like, अच्छा परसों क्या खाना बन रहा है, so like, why are you worried about परसों क्या खाना बन रहा है, he wouldn't say कि I want Nishat is coming, so I want him to eat this or something like that, परसों क्या खाना बन रहा है. And by the time that Nishat bhai calls Abba, by that time he's already irritated because he has been, looking forward to that time from before. So पहले आते ही साथ, अच्छा हाँ, अच्छा ठीक है आ जाओ, अब पता नहीं फुर्सत है नहीं है, he would have that, and then the moment is there, अच्छा you tell my mom ये बनाओ और ये करो, अच्छा वैसे करेंगे, अच्छा वैसे होगा, पूरा he'll do all that back arrangement. Such amazing time.
Like 2 days, 3 days, अभी सुबह से रात तक बैठे, फिर थोड़ी देर घर चले गए, फिर वापस आ गए, फिर वो कहाँ टाइम कैसे चला जाता था, कुछ कमाल था. अच्छा, उनका मैं आपसे आज एक बात बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बताना चाहता हूं। जिंदगी में कोई ऐसी बात किसी मैं म्यूजिक की अभी बात कर रहा हूं, ऐसा कोई सवाल नहीं है कि मैंने उनसे पूछा और उन्होंने मुझे नहीं बताया। गलती मेरी है कि मैंने इतना टाइम उनके साथ नहीं, जितना मुझे गुजारना चाहिए था मैंने नहीं गुजारा।
सही बात है।
देखिए आज मैंने आपसे बहुत बड़ी बात मैं आपको बोल रहा हूं, ये कि ऐसा कोई सवाल ही नहीं था कि अगर मेरे दिमाग में कोई म्यूजिक का कोई ऐसा मेरे दिमाग में आया और मैंने उनसे पूछा और उन्होंने मुझे ना बताया। तो it was like he was doing something else or whatever, and if I asked him, someday I'll tell you, and there were some very intricate things that I wanted to talk to him about it, or about something that and then he would go into the depth of it, and then in depth समझा दिया या बता दिया उसके बारे में, तो वो एक इतना एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी एक वो रिलेशनशिप थी कि अब क्या मतलब ये सारी जो बातें होती ना वो खाली वो एक बार में नहीं हो सकती। तो कभी ऊपर वाला चाहेगा तो डेफिनेटली we are going to meet, and we are going to talk, and I hope you celebrate his birthday in the most beautiful way. I will be thinking of of him and of all of you, and then we will have a
and for all the music lovers out there, please listen to some music, especially on Abbas' birthday, and do say a prayer for his soul, because that is the most important thing. And in your prayers, please bless us all as well. We are always needing of everyone's blessing and prayers. Rambhai, no words for you. You always do this, and Nishat bhai, again, we're all family, so I don't know, it's appropriate to even thank each other.
Don't thank me. This was such a pleasure to इस बहाने तुम्हारे से मुलाकात भी हो गई, क्योंकि I don't get to see you for so often, but we are all connected. So we are all connected. But looking forward to seeing you and having some good food together. Ram, I'll see you very soon. ठीक है, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, और सारे सुनने वालों को very very happy birthday from for my uncle, and we'll see you very soon somewhere. Okay.
Pranam.
Khuda Hafiz.
Pranam.